Oh, coming at you here from the ATX with the Box to Box Radio podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mason Carmichael. With me, to my right, Mr. Travis Carmichael. To my left, a vacant seat because Mr. A-Day is on vacation currently with his wife, Katie. Shout out to you guys for getting to have a little romantic getaway for the weekend. He's just running away because I beat him in fantasy. I think that's the whole reason why he's gone this weekend. And then PC across from me on the mic, ready to go with some hot takes. Guys, I'm excited to get going this episode, but before we jump in and I talk to you guys, I want to give a quick shout out to Sincerely Yours Music. You guys are hearing some songs from him in our intro. Of course, Sincerely_Yours_Music on Instagram is the best way to follow his stuff. And of course, listen on Spotify and iTunes as well. Guys, you can get at us as well on our social media pages for any questions, comments, or reactions to the episode. It's Twitter, B_B_radio, Instagram, box_radio, Facebook, really easy to remember. It's Box to Box Radio, and on our email, 90min@box2boxradio.com. And for those of y'all that are listening for the first time, maybe this isn't your preferred streaming network. We are on all streaming services that you could possibly think of. We're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on Google Play, and we're working on Pandora and SoundCloud. But also, guys, we just got added onto YouTube. So if you look up Box to Box Radio on YouTube, you should be able to find us. It's our logo, the one that's on all of our social media and all of our other streaming services. Boys, that was a mouthful. I'm glad I got all the logistics out of the way so we can just talk some footy. Lads, PC, Travis C in the studio. How y'all feeling?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Some really good games this weekend. Some history on multiple fronts, and yeah, I'm excited to get it going.
Yeah, I'm just hoping to keep up with you guys. You know, the amount of
you'll do fine.
The amount of information that you guys have blows my mind.
Producer Chris,
yeah.
When in doubt, who do you talk about?
Oh yeah, I don't even remember. I'm kidding. Good old Hudson.
Oh,
yeah,
good old Hudson.
So, boys, we're completely on brand right now, too. We got footy on in the background. We just recapped and finished up the FC Dallas versus LAFC game, which we're all excited. We got a 1-1 draw with Matty Hedges getting red carded early on in the second half, so we'll take it.
Great penalty save from
great
Jesse
penalty,
Gonzalez,
yeah.
by the way.
Of course, he couldn't, unfortunately, do it twice in a row, but right now we got Colorado Rapids on versus the LA Galaxy. The Rapids, of course, winning that right now 1-0 away from home. But, boys, I want to talk about this week another major MLS milestone, which, boys, it finally happened. Hashtag Wando Watch. We've all been waiting. I probably, if you check my Twitter, I'm at Mason C19 on Twitter. Shameless plug. It's probably the past 2 days, 95% Chris Wondolowski related. And that is because, of course, he broke the all-time leading goal scorer record in Major League Soccer. The record, of course, previously was held by Landon Donovan, one of the greatest U.S. men's national team players of all time, at 145 goals in the league. Wando not only said, I'm going to tie it on Saturday at 145, I'm not going to break it at 146. No, I'm going to score 4 goals against Chicago and firmly supplant myself 3 goals ahead of Landon Donovan at 148, having a man-of-the-match career performance against the Chicago Fire, winning 4-1. Guys, in my opinion, he deserves it wholeheartedly. You'll never meet a better dude. You'll never see a more hungry goal scorer. If you're coming at me in my mentions, or if you're thinking, listen right now, oh yeah, what happened against Belgium with the U.S., get out of here, unfollow us, unsubscribe.
Don't do that, please.
I don't care about what happened against Belgium. This guy fully deserves the leading goal scorer mantle in Major League Soccer and has done it in less games than Landon Donovan did, less appearances. Guys, he's a legend.
I mean, I don't think you can look at him and say, oh, it's the best American player of all time, but I think you can look at him and say he's definitely one of the most consistent. I think, you know, he is what he is. He's a poacher. He's a goal scorer. He scores some good goals. He scores some, Wondolowski range goals. I mean, even some of the goals this weekend were very Wando range. But
yeah, then
it's hard.
They interviewed him about that. They said, how do you feel? It's like, in my head, I've played it a million times that the game or the title clinching goal for most goals in MLS would be like a 30-yard screamer. But of course, it's David Alstott dropping the ball at my feet, and I make that hard run to the near post toward the goalkeeper 999 times, and then the 1000th time he drops it, and I score a goal, which a huge testament to him. Like, he has made a career off of hard work, sheer will, and being in the right place at the right time. Like, this dude wanted it more than anybody else in the league, and I'm happy for him.
Hey, man, like, you create your own luck. I think, people be like, oh, the ball fell and he was in the right spot. He got lucky. Yeah, but he, like you said, he makes that run every time. He works hard even when the ball's not being delivered to him. And so when the ball is put in with proper service, he's there. So I think you create your own luck. He's in the right spot at the right time. And, I mean, at the end of the day, even though it's 6 yards away, you have to finish. And there are a lot of people that can't score from 6 yards, nonetheless 3 yards. So
yeah, I agree. And producer Chris, I'm going to kick this one over to you too. He's got 146 goals in Major League Soccer. With the climate changing and with players only staying at places now, MLS is of course now becoming a selling league. Guys aren't really staying around the league for as long, especially elite goal scorers. Do you think his record will be broken anytime soon by players in the league?
Not anytime soon. Not currently. I do believe that it will be broken, only because you're going to get a bigger and better league as time goes by. So a lot of the times, Aguero is a perfect example. The league has evolved over in Europe and in England. The money is there. That's going to happen in the U.S. eventually. Hopefully, within the next 10 years that happens. Nothing crazy like Europe, but I do believe it'll eventually be broken just because they'll be able to bring in more talent. They'll be able to bring in a lot more people because of it. So I think that, eventually we'll get somebody to break it and it'll be just as amazing as it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, records are made to be broken, but I do agree with you. I think in the next 5 years, it will be very difficult to find somebody that will be consistently playing enough because, like you said, when they score goals, now they're kind of gone versus, some of these other guys staying around the league for a long period of time based off of loyalty or just wanting to be in the States for a long time or whatever. So we'll see, maybe 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah, the only two guys I could feasibly see breaking it that are not going to be leaving MLS, because like you look at guys like Josef Martinez, right? He said he wants to stay with Atlanta forever, but if he has another season, he's got another season like he had last
he's
year.
He's going to go to Newcastle.
He's 25.
He's going to go to Newcastle.
He'll be gone, right?
With Miggy.
But he'll be gone, right? He'll be gone.
Right.
The only two guys I could probably foresee doing it are Kai Kamara. Of course, he's 5th on the all-time leading goal scorer list, but he's 35. So he's a long shot. He's going to have to score 30, 40 more goals until he gets there, which I don't think
that's not going to happen.
He's going to be able to do it. And then BWP is 33, and he's at over 100 goals right now. If he plays for 2 more years and keeps the production rate up, like maybe, but Wando should be pretty secure for the next couple of years. I agree with you guys. So great weekend in MLS there. Record broken. Congrats to Chris Wondolowski and his family. Got a lot of love.
Yeah. Also, we're watching the LA Galaxy versus Colorado game on right now as we record. Big side note here, a very missing hot commodity for LA. Zlatan actually given a 2-game ban.
Yeah. Speaking of world-class strikers within the league, Zlatan.
They went back, and for the life of me, I don't know how the referee didn't give a red card after
it's
VAR.
It's because it's Zlatan.
But definitely kind of choked Sean Johnson.
Chokehold him to the ground and got a 2-game ban, which I agree with. Guys, my question to you, thanks for bringing it up though, Trav. My question to you is like, 1, is it justified? And 2, how is this going to affect Zlatan and players from other leagues coming over to MLS?
I think it has less of an effect as a whole. I would consider him, I'd say calling him a thug is fair because he just kind of goes at people, and you see clips of him, like him and some of the center backs he plays against get into it and stuff. So like I think
he's come out and said he plays better when he's mad.
Right. And there's no problem with that, but I mean some of the stuff he does is very dirty and cheap, and I think the league is kind of on notice now.
I believe that they've given him, an inch and he's taken a foot.
Oh, 100%.
Especially last season, again, like I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Last season, he stomped on the foot of a Montreal Impact defender and got nothing for it.
That's not correct. He was sent off after VAR in that incident.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you're correct.
He was stomped on, and then he actually hit him in the back of the head.
Oh, that's what it was. Correct. Yeah. My bad.
But it did take VAR to get that.
Yeah, VAR did get that. So he has been disciplined before, but I agree with you, Chris. Like, you give him an inch, he'll take a mile.
Yeah, but for every one red card, there's been 5 other
Exactly.
incidents where
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, the goalkeeper did just kind of fall to the ground. I mean,
he had him by the
He
neck,
had,
though.
he had his hand around his throat.
You can't grab his neck,
if
though.
somebody grabs me by the neck, guess what's going to happen?
Yeah, but exactly.
Come on.
He grabbed him by the neck. You can't refute that. And then laws of the game, hands to the face,
Yep.
which the neck.
No, but
is
I'm talking
close to
about
the face.
I'm
That's
talking
a
about
two-game
the
ban.
fact that he just fell to the ground.
No, I know, but
If someone choke grabbed me, I'm falling to the ground. Not gonna lie.
in that context, yes.
Really?
Yeah, what are you going to do? Get up and punch him?
Yes.
And then get sent off?
No. Yeah, I think it was.
Piensas, mijo.
Come on,
Think about
come
it.
on. Seriously?
Yeah, you're going to
You're
get sent
gonna
off.
be-
The
you're gonna be that
goalkeeper's going
guy.
to because the goalkeeper's going to get sent off and he's going to hurt his team.
Yeah, but you're going to be that guy that
Yeah.
just.
But if you're choked, that's not really flopping. He has you by the neck.
He did. He grabbed him by the neck and
He
just
grabbed him
fell
by
to
the
the
throat.
ground.
He
Listeners,
threw him
fell-
to the ground.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
Oh, yes,
No,
he
listeners,
did.
listeners,
He fell to the ground.
We're gonna
Are you
post.
watching the game or are you just looking at stats?
We're gonna-
I saw the highlight.
We're gonna. Oh my gosh, we're gonna post this video to social media. We'll find the MLS soccer clip of it. We'll retweet it and
I don't
we'll
know.
have a poll out to see
I'm throwing fists.
what y'all think.
I'm sorry. I'm
we'll
throwing
get
a fist.
we'll get our social media guy
I'm taking
Travis
the mic.
Ade on
That's-
that.
that's
I'm
an
taking
away
the
leg.
mic back. Travis, we miss you.
Let's get back. Let's get back to it.
Whatever. I think that it's a proper punishment for him, and it sounds
Agreed.
like you guys all agree too. So interesting thing to keep an eye out on, guys. The other thing that I watched this weekend, which we've talked about, Premier League wrapped up. La Liga's been wrapped up for a while. Italian League's been wrapped up for a while. French League's been wrapped up for a while. The Eredivisie wrapped up last midweek, but guys, Bundesliga was the only title race left. And basically what we had coming into the final match day on Saturday was if Bayern win, they win the league. And boys, when they did 5-1 demolishing of Eintracht Frankfurt, goals in this one, Coman in the 4th, Alaba in the 53rd, Sanchez in the 58th, and guys, most importantly, robbery comes together for the last 2 goals, 72nd and 78th minute. Guys, their last game in Munich in the Bayern colors. They go out with a trophy. Arjen Robben sniping people with pints of beer after the game, dunking it on their heads, going up to Kovac and dropping it on them. But guys, my biggest question to you is not one. So we all figured, I think we've talked about on the show, that Bayern Munich was going to win the trophy. Like, we figured that they were going to do it. We figured they weren't going to lose on the last day. But my biggest question for you is, like, what is the future and what does it look like for Ribery, Frank Ribery and Arjen Robben? What's the future look like? Do they, retire? Does Robben go back to the Netherlands? Does Ribery go back to France? Do they both come to Major League Soccer? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
For me, well, first off, there are 2 main points of the game that I want to focus on. Obviously, it was really funny seeing David Alaba score because Ribery and him are like best friends.
Yeah.
And so they pan over to Ribery on the bench and he's just celebrating. It was really cool. And then Renato Sanchez scored just an absolute beauty of a goal. He basically dribbled the entire team by himself in the 18.
He's an animal. For sure.
I like him. He's coming along. But that's kind of my point is like these 2 moving on because they're obviously out. And
Yeah.
it was great that they scored today and it's very important for their legacy and their career. And it was good for them to kind of celebrate that moment, enjoy it. But these 2 coming on are leaving, I think, is what is very important for the club because they need to go in a younger direction.
Yeah.
They've kind of hit kind of a stale in terms of, the like European competition. I know the Bundesliga, they've been successful, but like in Europe, they haven't been competing well.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point too because you have guys like Kingsley Coman coming up on the wing. Thomas Muller, of course, has been on the wing.
Serge
Gnabry, has looked really, really good for them as well. So producer Chris, Robben, of course, former Chelsea player, was very, very good when he played for Chelsea. Ribery obviously has won several accolades in his club career. I mean, I think he's won, I want to say 9 Bundesliga titles. It's either 7 or 9. I looked that up the other day. Most, the thing that matters though, it's the most that anybody has ever won. Any single player in the Bundesliga, the most Bundesliga titles ever won by a player. So for these players, like they leave on a high note, they win yet another Bundesliga title. Where do they rank for you in all-time wingers? Because both of them obviously great players, great for their clubs, great for their countries. Where do they rate for you overall?
Overall, I would easily put him in within the top 15.
Okay.
Top 15 is a good
That's a
call.
bold statement there, Chris. Top 15?
Top 15.
I don't think that's bold
Watch
enough.
out.
Yeah.
No, because
You can't see me winking over the
Yeah,
microphone
he's
in my
sarcastic
sarcasm.
as heck over here.
oh, you want me to put him in the top 5? No, they're
Maybe.
not in the top 5.
Maybe.
No, well,
Well, who's better then?
Ooh, that's a great
I
question.
mean, you have Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He's a winger, right? So
Messi.
Messi's, so Salah right now, so you have a lot of players.
Salah is not better than those two all time.
I'm a Liverpool fan and I agree because
You have to look at the
Salah's had
longevity.
one season where he's
I
been, or
understand
sorry,
that.
2 seasons where he's been on fire.
Yeah, I understand that, but he's also come up through the rankings, coming from a lot weaker teams. you know.
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, they don't buy players and you don't look at players like that unless they're good. So
Yeah.
that's why I say, I mean, there's just overall, there's a lot of good players out there, but in the top 15, I would put them there just because, you look at,
Yeah.
overall,
That's a very conservative place to
exactly.
put him. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, going back to where you said, where do they land? I think that it just really depends on where they want to be in the next, 2 or 3 years. Do they want to continue to even have a bench spot on the national team?
Well,
do they still want to do
Ribéry's
that?
retired from France and Robin's retired from the Netherlands. And so they're
I
both
understand
done
that.
with their national teams.
But that doesn't ever stop them from trying to get back on it.
or maybe even like from a coaching staff standpoint or something
Exactly.
like
Yeah,
that
that's fair.
moving
That's
forward.
good.
So it just really kind of depends on where they want to go.
Yeah.
So I mean, they could come to the US, they could probably
I think that's their destination.
Go to a weaker league, like Turkey, something,
the Nether, like
Sweden,
Robin going back to
back to-
Eredivisie.
exactly, Sweden, but one of those weaker countries. It just really depends on what they want. But I think the best move for them would probably be to get a paycheck, US.
Yeah, I think, and I agree with Travis. I think they'll come to MLS as well. Reportedly, they've had some suitors in Major League Soccer. Dan Hunt from FC Dallas, we've talked about. I think we beat a dead horse on this. He said that he's bringing in an international player from FC Dallas, which was backed up and made more credible by the offloading of Marquinhos Pedroso just to get that extra international slot to bring in a player over the summer. So I don't think both of them end up at FC Dallas. I think one of them ends up at Dallas. I would not also be surprised seeing Robin go back to the Netherlands.
Yeah, that's fair. I think, and to answer your question, I'm not going to run away from the question. Robin is better, in my opinion. I think he was better at more clubs from longer consistency of time. I think he meant more to the Dutch national team than
fair.
Ribéry meant to the French national team.
That's fair. Because, Ribéry, when he was really at his pinnacle for the French national team, you had guys like Thierry Henry and Claude Makelele that were kind of stealing the spotlight. Even Benzema was starting to come up. David Trezeguet was in the twilight of his career, too. Zidane, he played with Zidane in one of the World Cups in 06. So I think you're correct in that, saying that Ribéry wasn't ever really the star for his national team. He was a bit player.
He always had a supporting cast.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I agree with
And also
Robin.
you look at, he played for Chelsea.
And
he played for
Madrid,
Madrid.
yeah.
He played for some of the top clubs in the world. And Ribéry is still very good.
Yeah, both of them up there in age. Robin just turned 34. Ribéry, of course, 35. So they both said they want to continue playing on after this season. So it'll be interesting to see where these guys end up. But guys, I'm very, very excited and happy for both of them that they won their last season in Munich. They both won a championship and get to go out of a club as champions. It's not often that you see that. Another guy coming back over to England that got to do that. It was announced today that Vincent Kompany is leaving Manchester City to go to Anderlecht and be a player manager there at Anderlecht.
Oh, wow.
His boyhood club, the club that he came up through in Belgium, which he's known that for a month. So that makes his absolute screamer against Leicester all the more sweet with him getting to do that for the fans before he left. I'm not a Manchester City fan. I'm a huge Vincent Kompany fan. I think he's a great defender and a great guy. So glad to see him going back to Anderlecht. Guys, this brings up a debate that I've seen all over Twitter the past couple days. Where does Kompany rank in best defenders, best center backs in Premier League history? Like, where do you rank him?
The problem with me for Kompany is if you take him at his best, I do believe him and maybe even Van Dijk might be two of the best center backs to ever play the game in the Premier League. Kompany can't be on that list because he was not healthy enough.
I agree.
He did not play consistently enough for a long enough, or like longevity, because he was just injured a lot, and that's unfortunate.
Chris, you support a club that probably has one of the top 2 or 3 center backs in Premier League history in John Terry. How do you rate Vincent Kompany?
On my own scale,
Yeah.
I would probably put him within the top 10.
Okay.
Top 10, just because there's so many other players.
Play the game?
To ever play the game?
I'm talking about in the Premier League.
Okay.
Just
All right.
Premier League defenders, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
All right.
top 10. I
Fair
mean, because you highlighted something. He's been injury prone almost his entire career.
Yeah.
So that does put an asterisk next to everything that he does. Granted, he did play really well when he wasn't injured, but at the same time, you rate him on reliability, and it goes down.
Yeah, and I'm looking at guys also like Rio Ferdinand and Nemanja Vidic for Manchester United. You're looking at John Terry and Ricardo Carvalho for Chelsea, those great Chelsea teams. You're looking at Jamie Carragher for Liverpool, who is phenomenal. You're looking at Kolo Touré when he was at Arsenal, and then to City, then to Liverpool. He had a great Premier League career as well. You're looking at all these top-end guys that have been good. I mean, you can even argue for like a Jan Vertonghen at Tottenham, who's been a stalwart there for the club for the past several seasons. Like, I think Kompany is in the echelon with all of those players up at the top end of the table, top end of talent in the Premier League. Felipe Senderos comes to mind too. I know Travis is a huge Senderos guy from Arsenal, although he broke our hearts when he went to the Dynamo. Felipe, how could you? But guys, I think top 10 is easily achievable for Vincent Kompany, especially if you look at in the prime of his career, the trophies that he won with Manchester City. I mean, he's one of the most decorated center backs in Premier League history, and a guy that was pretty successful at the national team level too.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's world class. It's just a matter of if he was healthy enough for the most of his career. I mean, you look at some of the big center backs that come to mind. Obviously you have like a John Terry or a Sol Campbell or
Sol Campbell's a good one.
William Gallas. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh,
I like William Gallas.
If we were talking about the top 10 head cases at center back, then William Gallas would probably be.
No, I mean the list kind of goes on and on. I mean, obviously you have Vidic and Ferdinand back in the day for Man United, and some of those other world class ones. But Vincent Kompany, from a class standpoint, has always been on that list. It's just a matter of like I said, the longevity of his career and staying healthy.
Yeah, guys, sad to see him go. If you're a Manchester City supporter, happy for him because he gets to go back to his old school or his hometown club and get a chance at being a manager, which I think will find him back with the City organization one way or another here in the long run. So shout out, hats off to you, Vincent Kompany. Very, very storied career in the Premier League, and congratulations for going out as a champion. All right, guys, moving on from that, we're gonna stay over here in England. We're gonna jump into the FA Cup. Of course, the final was this past weekend. Manchester City versus Watford. Of course, a lot on the line here. If Manchester City won the game, they would be the first ever, thank you to Pep Guardiola for the correction, men's team to win the treble. Of course, the Arsenal ladies have won the English treble before.
Come on, you Gunners.
Corrected a journalist this weekend, Pep Guardiola did. If Watford win, they deny Manchester City and, of course, set up a rematch in the Community Shield at the beginning of the season. But, guys, obviously, football doesn't go the way that we want it to. I wanted a Watford win. I think all you guys wanted a Watford win as well. City, not only did they win, they won 6-0. They came out and just completely obliterated this Watford team.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because I think this all went how we really thought it would go, dreadingly so. But Watford had a chance so early on in the game to go up 1-0, and Ederson just stuffed him.
Yeah.
Which
is why you pay that much money for a goalkeeper.
Ederson's done outstanding. And then also a potential penalty shout off actually Vincent Kompany for a potential handball that was denied. And then it just started rolling, man. David Silva scored in the 26th. Gabriel Jesus had 2. Kevin De Bruyne had 1. And then Sterling had 2 in the 81st and the 87th. So it was just a team of two classes.
Which, by the way, shout out to Liverpool for the good bit of business they did when selling Raheem Sterling when they did. They sold him for around $53 million or 53 million pounds, and now he's worth triple that money. So congratulations
well done,
for
Liverpool.
Them getting rid of him when he wanted out and knowing that they could capitalize on him and he would be a good player. So congratulations to them for selling.
I mean, to be fair, like, if I told you you're going to sell Sterling and you were going to have the 2 past seasons you just had, would you still make that deal?
Of course.
Yeah.
So no
it works out. So, but like I said, this was a team of two classes, and it lets them win the domestic. I hate that, the domestic treble. But I mean, to be fair, the FA Cup is a legitimate trophy. The league is a really difficult feat to do. The Carabao Cup is
the Carabao Cup is.
But also, to be fair, it is a ton of games. So the fact that you can rotate your squad and still win the league and the FA Cup and still win the Carabao Cup is I mean,
yeah, and Manchester City, to their credit, have beat every single opponent in that they've come up against this year, except for VAR. Tottenham Hotspur keeping them from winning that 4th trophy. So that was, of course, both teams' last game of the season. Chris Hernandez, I'm going to throw this word out to you, and I want you to tell me if you agree with it or disagree. Dynasty. Is Manchester City a dynasty?
Stop.
No.
Thank you.
No. They are money. That's all they are.
Oh, man. PC, going for the jugular.
I
mean-
I don't like the fact that these guys can come in, spend the amount of money they spend, just pummel everybody just because they have the talent to buy. Other than that, I mean, I get it. They're winning. They're spending the money to do it.
But they have a great coach, too.
Yes. But I don't. Where would they be without the money?
But hold on, because I have a big problem with that statement. Because look, so many times in the world, Mason and I are FC Dallas fans, and we complain so much about it. Please, for the love of all things, care about the club, invest money, make us better. And so finally owners come in that have money and say, well, we want to make this team really good. And they spend money. And now it's like, oh, they're only spending money.
And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. But what I am saying is the amount of money that they have spent and the fact that
for them.
They just got caught.
Yeah,
they just got caught. That's what
yeah.
I'm saying is that they just got caught. And that's what I'm talking about is the fact that they've spent so much money and that nobody else can compete with them. That's the issue is that, yeah, they are building, a team that is unbeatable. But then again, you also have teams like Ajax. They could potentially be a dynasty if they could keep it together. Unfortunately, they won't because guess what? They're going to sell all their players.
But
if they decided, hey, you know what? We are going to compete on this level and we're going to keep our players, and that is a real dynasty. 3 or 4 years of, De Ligt or, any of the other players that they decide to keep. That is a real dynasty. Them going in and buying all these players and replacing all this old talent with new, fresh players with, just throwing cash at it. I understand money is great, but at the same time, it's not a true dynasty.
Not yet, but we'll see. But
oh yeah, no. If they can carry this on for the next 2 or 3 years, yeah.
So this is what I'll say, and this is why soccer is the greatest sport in the entire world, because any other sport in the world, you can just throw money at a problem and you're going to win. Like you look at the NFL, the NBA, like if you spend the money and buy the best team, like the best players, you will win. It's like almost written in stone. Soccer, that's not always the case because there are so many good players in the world that even like a Man City can lose to like a Tottenham spent like no money in the transfer window.
Yeah.
And like, if you look at them on paper, the squads are really like not that.
It's not that far
not
away.
that far away.
No, but Liverpool spent less than all of them.
Yeah.
And still, that's another good point
But
too.
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
This is why I love soccer, because just because you have to throw money at it the smart way, because just because you throw money at it does not guarantee you win. Look at PSG. PSG should have won the Champions League on paper with how much they spent.
For years
but
now, they should have
can't
won
figure
on
it out.
paper, yeah.
And that is why I love the sport, because there are so many good players in the world.
I think also like you said, spending money in a wise way too, because Liverpool, look, the players they buy have been investments, right?
Yes.
So Andy Robertson, investment. Mo Salah, investment. Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino,
Even
Fabinho, Wijnaldum. All these players are investments. They knew they wouldn't be world class first season, but if they could get them to buy into the system and trust that Jurgen Klopp can bring the best out of them, they'd be great players. Manchester City, you look at the players they brought in. Fabian Delph, Danilo, You're looking at Mendy, not very great.
Yeah, and
so
they spent
far.
the most money. And they spent the most
But
money.
also, like, City also bought very
Mahrez,
smart, though. But City had, like, bought players that buy into the philosophy, because City as a
That's
whole
fair, 'cause, like,
has everybody.
Sané, Gundogan.
You have all these players that aren't in the starting lineup, and it's like, no problem. It's a cup final. We want to win the cup.
Yeah.
So it's like
That's
they've
fair.
yeah,
bought
but
in.
Are you saying they're dynasty, Man City?
Not yet.
Okay.
I think you have to win 3 in a row to be a dynasty.
Which I agree with you guys, right? So they're not a dynasty. Like, when I think dynasty, I think of like Manchester United in the early 2000s
Yes.
and Liverpool in the 1900s.
Before the Premier
You
League
don't,
era,
you don't
yeah.
put Barcelona in there? When
I'll
Pep
put
was
Barca.
there?
Yeah,
I
when
was gonna say.
Barca 2 was kind of a dynasty when they were winning all those Champions League. Real Madrid's Champions League success,
Yeah.
I'd say they're a dynasty as well. But like, you have to win. I agree with Travis. 3 is a good rule of thumb. You have to win 3 consecutive titles in a row, and then I'll call you a dynasty, right? So
So Juve is a dynasty.
Yes, they've won 8 in a row. They've started like last year was myth and the T was a 7. Like, what are they doing this year? What possibly going to do with an 8? You going to turn it into a B or something? Unbeatable and the 8's a B? Stupid. Get some competition. But yeah, they haven't won a Champions League, so whatever.
Yeah.
And sorry, Buffon, you went to the one team that's never going to win a Champions League.
On paper, they are.
I mean,
fair.
I love the sport, man. I love this sport. It's great.
Yeah.
So many good players.
That's true. But guys, I agree with you. Man City, not a dynasty, but congratulations to them for winning this FA Cup. 6-0.
Yeah, what they did was still an accomplishment.
Yeah.
A really
it's a
great accomplishment.
huge accomplishment.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm still in the camp that believes that if you right now were to go up to a Manchester City fan and say, hey, if you were able to trade all 3 of your trophies this season for a
100%.
Champions League, would you do it?
100%.
And I think 95% of the fans would say, yeah. And if you're a Liverpool fan, would you trade your Champions League for a domestic
I
trophy?
think so.
I think they would say, yeah, for a league trophy.
I think it's probably more so for the culture that Liverpool has.
Yeah.
And that's why.
I agree.
Also, I think winning a Champions League legitimizes City as a European
A world,
level.
yeah, like
Yes.
a world power.
Also, I've heard a lot of nonsense lately from the plastic City fans that, oh, we're the greatest team to ever play in the... Not true.
No, you're not.
The greatest team to ever play in the Premier League were the Invincibles.
Yeah.
Arsenal 2004.
Although they weren't a
undefeated.
dynasty, though.
They weren't a dynasty, but that's the best single season team.
Okay,
The
I'll give it
single
to you.
season team for me. That's
yeah,
the best
I think
team.
they've got the most points in history in a Premier League season.
No, they did not.
They don't.
They weren't even in the top.
Oh, that's
I don't even think they were in the
true.
top 5. They
Yeah.
tied a lot. But also, that was a year it was a title race down to like the last game, even though they were undefeated.
That's interesting, too. So for Liverpool fans out there, if you're sad like me, you were probably half an inch away from having an invincible season on that one goal that was denied by goal line.
Millimeters
Yeah.
from the goal line technology camera. Yeah.
Because Liverpool, we lost one game, and that was the 2-1 loss to Manchester City this season. So
Yeah.
I'm bummed out now. I kind of want to just go, eat a whole pizza and cry in a corner. But
We have another beer.
But
fair.
it's crazy, though, the perception of things. Like, if that goal goes in and you tie City and you win the league and you go undefeated, the conversation literally becomes, okay, maybe
Liverpool's
the greatest Premier
Which,
League
in all
team of
honesty,
all
I
time.
would have given it to them, especially if they win the Champions League.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Because Arsenal, that's the one trophy they could not win that season. They didn't win the EFL Cup, which we already talked about that. The
Right.
Carabao Cup is now what it's called. But they lost to Real Madrid in the Champions League final. They
Yep.
couldn't. That's the one trophy that eluded them.
Yep.
Guys, I honestly think that the Premier League deserves more credit this season than a lot of people gave it at the beginning of the year. I think it's a lot more competitive. I think English teams and the English style of football is starting to gain a little bit of ground, is starting to get a little bit better as we move forward here. So a lot to keep your eye out on, especially with the 2 finals coming up. Of course, Europa League is this coming Wednesday. It's a 6 a.m. kickoff.
Thanks to being
2 Wednesdays from now. 6 a.m.
Azerbaijan.
kickoff. Yeah, Azerbaijan. It's going to be a doozy. Of course, guys, we'll be at the Haymaker for that one in Austin if you guys want to come hang out with us. We'll be wearing, producer Chris will be in his Chelsea jersey. Travis will be in his Arsenal jersey, of course. I'll probably be either in a Box to Box Radio t-shirt, a Liverpool jersey, or in full nude. So that would be amazing for us.
It's showing 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Travis lied to
it?
me. Travis lied to me, ladies and
Give
gentlemen.
me that.
2 p.m. kickoff on Wednesday.
Yes.
When is it? Like the 29th? 28th? Who was it? 28th? 29th. Yeah, 29th.
2 p.m. kickoff. Okay.
So next Wednesday, yeah,
wonder what that
guys,
is.
we'll have a pod coming out that day, but
Sweet.
come see us at 2 p.m. before the pod drops. Some of us will be at the Haymaker, probably hanging out with a couple bevs, chilling. So that'd be fun. Looking forward to that.
If you can spot me, I'll buy you a drink.
If you can spot the
Yeah, if you
6'7"
can find-
guy,
Yeah, you can find producer Chris. We'll buy you a drink.
like,
If you-
where's Waldo?
Yeah.
But box to box version.
yeah. Yeah, that'd be a good drinking game going on there. Of course, we don't condone underage drinking on this podcast because we are all about the law. We're pro law. We're not pro rel, but we're pro law. So, guys, thanks very much. Come find us at the Haymaker for that final, and of course for the Champions League final. I want to be at BD Riley's because I'm a Liverpool fan.
Is
but
that a Liverpool?
it is the
bar?
Liverpool
It is
bar in
the
Austin
Liverpool
on Mueller
bar.
Street in downtown Austin. But however, I'm going with Tottenham fans, and so they did not want to go to BD Rally, so we're trying to find a neutral location.
We will not be going to Mr. Tramps, which is the local Tottenham
No, we're
bar.
not going to Mr. Tramps either. So if you guys know of any neutral soccer bars in the Austin area, hit me up. I'm glad, because I'm going with my girlfriend's dad, and I'm trying not to get in trouble.
I don't know.
with
I
him,
feel like
so-
somebody's going to email them for a bunch of health code violations.
Mr. Tramps.
Both of them.
Oh,
Thanks,
yikes.
Chris. So let us know some neutral soccer bars that I won't get in trouble for wearing my Liverpool jersey at. Like if you email me a United or an Everton bar, just unfollow us. Like I don't want to deal with that anymore.
Don't do that.
You're soft. You just
We love the
No,
fans.
no.
yeah. Chris over here is like, no, don't unfollow us. But,
We love the fans. Mason,
guys.
actually, speaking of fans,
uh-huh.
I got a mailbag question for us.
Okay. That's awesome.
So it's not necessarily a question. It's more of like a general comment. A good friend of ours, his name is Joel Carlos, kind of wrote into the show, and he is a ginormous Tigres fan. And he loves the podcast, but he's saying, Mason, what up with the no love for Tigres? Obviously, Tigres made the CONCACAF Champions League final, unfortunately lost to their rivals, the Rayados of Monterrey, but just recently beat them in the Clausura playoff. With the rules.
That's something I want to explain to our listeners. So I see your Tigres shade, and I raise you with talk about Liga MX, Mr. Joe Carlos. So of course it's the Clausura playoffs. This weekend we're in the semifinals. So this past week, Tigres played the second leg against Rayados. The first leg was 1-0 Rayados. Second leg 1-0 Tigres, which means overtime penalty kicks. Wrong. Not in this league. That only happens in the final. I was told by Rigoberto Rodriguez, my resident Tigres expert, that the way that it works in Liga MX is they honor, which I love, and Travis and Chris love this too, the higher seed, if it's tied on aggregate and away goals, goes through, which means their finish in the league has standing in the playoffs. And so Tigres had a higher league finish, and they're going through right now. Currently, it's the 64th minute in the other semifinal, Leon hosting Club America. That one's knotted at 1-1-2. So, in theory, and by logic, if we are to reasonably dissect this, if it were to end in this result, Leon finished first place in the Clausura on the league standing, so they indeed would be going to the final to play Tigres. So producer Chris is now going on Univision and pulling up the game.
Love it.
Like a good guy does. So Joel Carlos, we do watch Liga MX. I just don't know as much about it as I'd like to. So we have people like Rigo and you to kind of call us out. But I'm going to open this up to our fans. If you're a Liga MX guy and you don't think we're talking about the league enough, or you don't like that I say Liga MX instead of Liga MX, please come on the show. We'd love to have a segment where we get to interview you about the favorite team and maybe your culture of your fan base and what it's like supporting Liga MX in the United States. We would love that.
This is a league that is really spiraled just upward in the last couple of years, and the money and the investment in it and the quality of soccer. I mean, you look at Tigres' roster and you have Eder Valencia and you have Gignac and you have Vargas and you have all these players that are unbelievable, and you have some big time clubs in this league. Also, I love the Mexican league because there are 2 cup finals and 2 champions of every single season.
Finals,
they do two leagues because why not? More trophies, more money. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. So thanks to Joel Carlos. We'll definitely get some more Liga MX talk on the show. Guys, any parting words before we kind of get out of here? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to give a massive shout out and congratulations to Kyrie Shelton of Paderborn. His team has just been promoted.
Oh, Austin guy, Kyrie Shelton.
They finished second today in the Bundesliga 2.
Okay.
They beat Union Berlin off goal differential. So they are going up. They're being promoted to the Bundesliga. So huge shout out to Kyrie Shelton. That's unbelievable. And that's awesome for him and his family. And we're excited to see him go do great things in the top division in Germany.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, of course, we want to talk about everything that you're interested about, especially Austin born and raised players winning titles and getting promoted. So please, if you want us to feature your questions on the show, you got to get at us first, guys. It's just common sense. So best way to do that is our Twitter is B_B_radio. Instagram, DM us at box_to_box_radio. Facebook, of course, box to box radio. And best way to get at us, 90min at boxtoboxradio.com. Guys, if you're listening to this on your regular streaming devices, know that there's multiple ways you can listen and watch. We're on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and of course now YouTube. A shout out again to Sincerely Yours for the music. Of course, guys, you can look them up on iTunes and Spotify. Thank you for listening. We hope this has been a good start to your week. We love you guys. We'll see you on Wednesday.